Hello, everybody, and welcome to Real Madrid Hub, your source for all Real Madrid news. I am your host, Eric Rivera. And, in the news, Fabrizio Romano, who is, of course, has his own podcast and, of course, is a famous journalist that does a lot of stuff about transfers. I'm sure all of you have heard about him. Well, Fabrizio Romano was speaking a little bit about Haaland and Jude Bellingham from Dortmund, who have had a fantastic run of form as of late. Erling Haaland, of course, is somebody that Real Madrid is looking at very closely. But we are not the only ones looking at Erling Haaland very closely. Though I think every football club in the world that can possibly afford him is looking at the possibility of bringing Haaland to their team. And Haaland has been performing very well in both La Bundesliga and in the Champions League, having scored against Besiktas in the Champions League this week, and then earlier last weekend for Bundesliga, he scored the winner against Bayer Leverkusen. So, of course, he is a very important player. He is up there with the likes of Mbappe in the idea of the two top young prospects, I think, at the moment that are pretty much leading the pack for the future of football are these two guys, and Erling Haaland is one of them, of course. So Fabrizio Romano was basically explaining that Borussia Dortmund know at this point that it's going to be very difficult to keep Haaland at Borussia Dortmund past the end of this season because of the fact that his clause will go into effect. That 75 million euro clause. And of course, I mean, it's really going to be, the funny thing there is that it's going to be really Erling Haaland that is going to make the final decision about where he wants to go, I'm sure. I mean, of course, a power agent like Mino Raiola, who is Erling Haaland's agent, is going to have some say in trying to convince him. And of course, his father, Erling Haaland's father, who also, is very important to the player, will also have a say. But it's really going to be about where Erling Haaland wants to go. You know, he's actually spoken, for us Madridistas, he's spoken about dreaming of playing with Real Madrid one day. Doesn't necessarily mean now, but could it possibly be sooner rather than later? We don't know that yet. Fabrizio Romano says that, of course, a lot of players are going to be fighting for him. A lot of clubs are going to be fighting for him and that 75 million euro release clause. He probably will not go for 75 million. He will go for a lot more because that is where they can essentially, I guess, start the bidding at. But we know that a lot of teams are going to have the possibility of getting somebody like Haaland. Real Madrid, of course, is one of the front runners there because of the fact that Mino Raiola wants to bring a player to Real Madrid, that Haaland has a desire to go there, that both Haaland's agent and Haaland's father went to Valdebebas about a few months ago or about a year ago, went to the training grounds of Real Madrid and looked around and spoke with some of the executives at Real Madrid. So we will see what happens with that. But what happens is, I think JOTA, my friend JOTA, is going to give you guys more information about Jude Bellingham, who, of course, is another person on that list, because what happens if Haaland leaves is what happens with Jude Bellingham, who has also been a very talented player there for Borussia Dortmund, the English player there, doing very well alongside Haaland, and this duo has been, really doing great things for Dortmund, and it will be, as Fabrizio Romano says, a good time to enjoy them during this season because they most likely will not be playing together at the end of the season. So with that said, speaking about this weekend's game against Valencia, so of course Real Madrid won their game in the Champions League against Inter with a beautiful goal in the final, pretty much in the final minutes of the game, a what I would like to call a combination between, all of pretty much our youth players, pretty much our future at Real Madrid, with a pass from Vini to Valverde to Camavinga, and Camavinga setting up a beautiful pass for Rodrigo to make a great finish and get the 1-0 there against Inter Milan. So, who will be the starters against Valencia? So, according to El Chiringuito, one of the starters that will be playing that will be starting this weekend, that did not start against Inter, will be none other than Eden Hazard. Well, we saw that, of course, Lucas Vasquez started against Inter. A lot of people were asking questions why. We could see that Ancelotti went for a far more defensive strategy, something that didn't, many Madridistas didn't like too much, that we were sitting back. And, of course, Lucas Vasquez does a good job of tracking back and helping, the defense along that right flank alongside Dani Carvajal. So he was essentially doing that, and that was what Ancelotti wanted him to do, and he did it, and we got away with the win. So, I mean, there's not many things we can question with that, but a lot of people, of course, want to see other players in those positions. And so Eden Hazard is one that is on the list there. So El Chiringuito was saying that Eden Hazard most likely will be a starter for the game against Valencia. So that is what is, I guess, people were asking that question. He's probably not going to have the same starting 11 as he did against Inter Milan. And another person that could possibly be a starter against Valencia, and this is coming from Defensa Central, Raúl Gutiérrez from Defensa Central. It says that the Ancelotti has been very, very happy with Camavinga, and of course we've seen he's been very happy with Camavinga, of course, putting him on, and then essentially he got the assist against Rodrigo, and for Rodrigo against Inter Milan, and then of course he scored in the 5-2 win against Celta Vigo. So Ancelotti very happy with Camavinga, is possibly considering having him as a starter against Valencia on Sunday when we face them at Mestalla. Part of the reason of this is also that Ancelotti wants to rotate the team, and also because of the fact that apparently he saw that Modric looked very tired, that Modric has been tired. And I mean, and let's remember, Modric is 36 years old. That doesn't, age at this point with a player like Modric, age is nothing but a number. But, the amount of minutes that Modric played last season, then in the Euro Cup, currently recently in the international break, Modric, at 36 years old, has been playing a large amount of minutes. And I'm thinking that Ancelotti wants to see him rest a bit. But it will be interesting to see if he does choose to do that, considering that Valencia has had one heck of a start to this season right now. They are undefeated. They won their last game against Osasuna, scoring 4 goals. Essentially, they are a tough team, and especially when they are at Mestalla, and even more so when Mestalla has fans. So it will be interesting if he decides to fully commit to this idea of starting Camavinga for this game against Valencia, but we will see what he finally decides, because of the fact that also he wants to save Luka Modric. He wants to have Luka Modric, give Luka Modric a break. So we will see how that plays out. And then the final news that I have is essentially also from Carmen Sanchez from Defensa Central, and it's about, of course, the very kind words, believe it or not, that the vice president, the economic vice president of Joan Laporta from Barcelona, and his name is, I believe, Eduard Romeo. He is the vice president of economics for Laporta and Barcelona. Actually had nice things to say about Florentino, and said that Madrid can sign Mbappe and Haaland. And he also said that, he was very impressed, essentially, that if we would have done the same things that they did in the last years, we would be in the same situation. Of course, speaking about how Florentino did such a good job of, basically tightening their belts, and, all of the things that a lot of Madridistas complained about not, selling players. Not buying players, selling some of our stars or our older stars, and not really signing anybody to replace them. And then, of course, the salary cuts and all of those things. At the end of the day, those things helped Real Madrid be in a very positive position, especially during a pandemic that has cost a lot of other clubs quite a bit of money, and has affected other clubs, especially the likes of Barcelona, who, Eduard Romeo is a part of. it is interesting to see that, they are very much, Barcelona is very much, I would say, almost congratulatory, almost respecting the job that Florentino Perez has done in the last months of the pandemic, and how they have been able to make sure that not only they reduced their expenditures, but and avoided unnecessary losses, but actually came away in a good position to possibly make a big signing such as Mbappe and Haaland, both of them, that they could possibly go for at the end of this season. So, he was very, very, Eduard Romeo from Barcelona was very, very, I would just say, he was, saying very nice things about Florentino, which is not something we normally see from Barcelona. But he says at an economic level and, company level, essentially, no one is better. I guess no one is, above Florentino Perez. I have a great admiration of him at a corporate level, and at a personal level, he has been very kind every time that we have basically spoken to each other. I can only give him words of praise at a personal level. So this is very interesting, of course, that Barcelona and Real Madrid have seemed to be at least at a level of the presidency with Joan Laporta, and of course, this other executive, of course, of Barcelona, being very nice and kind to Real Madrid, sort of cozying up to them. That's kind of very strange, but it could be with everything that's going on with the Superliga, and of course that they see that if the Superliga comes through and things work out for them, that they can eventually enjoy, I would say, a financial windfall that could definitely help them get through this current situation. So is it a true, friendship, or is it simply for, because they would stand to benefit from it? But whatever it is, I think at this point, Florentino Perez and Barcelona, even though, they are rivals on the field, and they are essentially very, very, very big rivals off the field, of course, if you want to bring politics and things into the whole situation, what each team stands for politically, I guess, has even the fans at odds occasionally in Spain. But I think outside of Spain, people just see them as two very big rivals on the pitch. And so it's interesting, but what I think about this in terms of my personal opinion, as much as these teams might not, see eye to eye and dislike each other in the sporting realm, both of the teams essentially are the biggest teams when it comes to Spanish football. And at this point, where Spanish football has been affected, of course, in a lot of ways by the pandemic, by the loss of stars such as Cristiano and Lionel Messi, and the power of some of these state-run clubs, I'm thinking these two teams are, trying to put their differences aside and use their power together in order to push La Liga forward and push Spanish football forward, which I think is in the best interest of anybody that is a fan of La Liga and anyone that is a fan of Spanish football. So, of course, but at the top of Spanish football, we also have Javier Tebas, who seems to not have a good relationship with Florentino and tries to attack him at every single chance he gets. So it's interesting there too as well. There's an internal fight there that is kind of strange, but then an internal sort of I would say alliance there between Barcelona and Real Madrid, and then by extension in the Serie A, Juventus, who are also these three clubs that are involved in the Super League. It's funny that they're kind of being cozy with one another while, speaking of Barcelona and Real Madrid, being cozy with one another while the head of La Liga is kind of attacking essentially Florentino and saying that, Florentino has hijacked or kidnapped Barcelona at this point, because of the fact that he sees that Laporta is so, I guess, kind of friends with Florentino or being, working with Florentino in this whole Super League idea, which of course Tebas is not a fan of, because it would take away power from him. Anyway, So that's all the stuff I have for now for Real Madrid news. A lot of things going on behind the scenes. But, in the sporting realm, Real Madrid doing what they need to do. Yes, winning a gritty game against Inter Milan and a tough game against Valencia this weekend to see, as we've seen, the defense is sometimes a little bit spotty, and Valencia will be one of the teams that currently is in good form and playing at home in a tough stadium for Real Madrid. Valencia always kind of presents itself as a tough sort of stone in the shoe sometimes for Real Madrid when they play them. So we will see. This will be a tough game against Valencia, and it will be, I guess, Real Madrid's first real test so far in La Liga against a team that is currently up there on the table and is in a good run of form. So we will see how that all plays out this weekend, guys. But until then, please stay tuned here at Real Madrid Hub for all your Real Madrid news. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get hit the notification button. That way you'll get all the updates of the news that both JOTA and myself are posting here to Real Madrid Hub constantly about all the news coming out of Real Madrid all day, every single day. JOTA is on top of these things, and make sure you guys stay tuned here. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. Thank you for listening to Real Madrid Hub.